Hey, Scott Spears here with a Scott Spears editorial. This is an editorial, just my opinion. It's an editorial that I promised yesterday, but I'm giving today on the shootings Friday, this Friday in December 14th, 2012 in Connecticut at the elementary school. Such a sad event, and I think a lot of people have thought I was going to give this editorial on gun control because of what happened when the Colorado shooting happened at the movie theater. I came out pretty well for stricter gun control, but that is not the whole issue here today, and I think that's something that needs to be addressed to a great deal. Somebody contacted me last night when they knew I was going to do this editorial and said, Scott, please talk about mental illness. It's not about guns, it's about mental illness, because the person who makes these shots always seems to have some mental illness. And that's absolutely true, and I think that one of the worst stigmas in the United States to this day is mental illness. People are afraid to tell people they have depression or they have anxiety or attacks or anything of that nature, bipolar disorder, because they think there's a stigma attached to it, and they think people will view them differently, and I'm sure some do, and the medicine will warp their mind. I think the clinics we used in the United States years ago, the mental institutions, the idea of the rubber rooms, the single beds, the you couldn't bring anything in when you visited somebody, has carried over to the present day society. To say that it's very hard to say you have a mental illness, it's very hard to get help, and one of my big pushes in the next 10 years of my life, and hopefully within the next year, is to assemble a group of people who are going to destigmatize mental illness, because it has to be destigmatized so we don't have issues happen again that happened yesterday in Connecticut. But we do have to talk about guns for this purpose. You just have to be logical at some point, and I see the knee-jerk reactions that people have in the media to want to ban guns, but then I see the people who like the guns. Their reaction is to say, okay, well, you know what, if we just take away all the guns, we won't have any crime. Neither of those statements is true. I don't think any legitimate legislature, any legitimate politician, any legitimate person in the United States wants to take away your shotgun, wants to take away your pistol that you protect your house or go hunting with. We don't want to do that. That's not the issue. I don't know that that's anybody's issue. But the issue is to get rid of semi-automatic weapons. When you go to purchase a semi-automatic weapon, if the dealer said to you, what will you be using this for? Say that's the checkpoint. You know, that just the dealer says, what are you going to use this for? What is a logical answer in the United States for using a semi-automatic weapon? And why is it always a semi-automatic weapon that's used? In Columbine, in Colorado, in Connecticut, it's always a semi-automatic weapon. Why? Why is that the weapon of choice? You know, I was thinking about this. There are a lot of things that can do harm to people, and certainly a lot of things that can kill people. Knives, switchblades, poison, axes, hammers, all kinds of things can kill people. Why, in these mass killings, is it always a semi-automatic weapon? I mean, you could mass kill with poison. You know, in that movie theater in Colorado, if they really wanted to mass kill a lot of people, they could have put poison in the food. They could have, I mean, there are ways to do this. Why is it always a semi-automatic weapon? I don't know. How do you answer that? I don't, it's hard to rationalize it in my mind, and it's also hard to rationalize how people come across them so easily. And I want to know why any regular citizen would need a semi-automatic weapon, and why are we protecting them? I don't get it. You know, we have freedom of speech in this country, but you can't say you're going to kill somebody. Period. You can't say you're going to kill somebody. We have freedom of speech in this country, but you can't say something derogatory because it'll get you a defamation. We have freedom of the press in this country, but they can keep you out of war areas. They can keep you off the Air Force base when they're bringing soldiers back. So There are a lot of amendments that have been changed over the years. We've done that. We've been there. We've seen that. Why is anybody protecting the semi-automatic weapons? I don't know. We don't want to take the shotguns. You want to keep the pistol, that's fine. Why the semi-automatic weapon, and why is the semi-automatic weapon always the gun of choice? I don't know. I would not want to go to one of these 5 to 10-year-old kids who were killed as parents and family in Connecticut and try to explain that to them. In closing, here we go again. This is it. And the answer in Colorado when I brought this up was, let's arm the people in the movie theater. Are you going to arm the kids in the school? Are you going to arm the principal? Are you going to arm the teachers? What if them happens to be mentally ill? Then what do you have? You just can't do this. And for the record, by the way, we have concealed carry in Ohio, which I'm sure everybody knows out there. But do you know there are places in Ohio where you can't carry a concealed weapon? You can't carry a concealed weapon into a school. You can't carry a concealed weapon into a daycare. You can't carry it onto private property where they've told you not to. You can't carry it into a sheriff's office. Why aren't you allowed to carry it into these places if you're a totally legitimate, well-mannered, well-minded, not criminally insane person? Because there are just places where it's not necessary and it's going to cause a problem. Take this as you will. I'm sure people will get angry. You can email me. You can attack me right here. But luckily, that other amendment allows me to do this. Freedom of the press and freedom of speech. Until next time, this is Scott Spears with the Spears Report.